bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Welcome. Fade to Black. Bespoke Radio. For the masses. Yeah, man. Here we go. Today is Monday, January 4th, 2021. Four days into the new year. Only 361 days left. We are live from a bunker. From a bunker that is in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world. All across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? That's it. We are officially in 2021. Holy smokes. All right. What a great week we've got lined up to kick off 2021. And let me get just straight to it here. Tonight, very special guest for our first show in 2021. We have Ryan Bledsoe joining us. Now, this is going to be a great conversation. And this is Ryan's, he's probably listening right now, getting nervous. Don't get nervous, Ryan. This is his first show on a major radio program tonight. Now, he's done other things in the past, but tonight's the big one, and we decided to do it as our first show of the year. And I'm very excited about this. Everybody in this audience has heard all the interviews I've done with his father, Chris, and which were all great shows. And which reminds me, one of my favorite shows I did with his dad, Chris, was the call-in night on a Fader night. That was absolutely amazing. Well, tonight we're going to hear directly from Ryan. And this is going to be extraordinary. And then how do we top that? Well, we're going to do that tomorrow night with Bob McGuire. Bob McGuire is going to be here. We're going to be talking about that triangle UFO image circulating around the secret three-letter agencies right now, tagged into some reports. We're going to be talking about that and so much more tomorrow night with Bob McGuire. Bob McGuire is here. And then Wednesday night, he's back. It's Isaac Arthur and Future Science. More on that in just a minute. But Isaac will be with us on Wednesday night. Then, of course, Thursday is another Fader night with open lines all night long. Ryan just tweeted. So Ryan's hanging out in the sandbox, everybody. Just going to let you know, go follow Ryan. And he just tweeted out, I'll try not to be nervous, Jimmy. He's going to be just fine. So funny. Ryan said to me, he goes, no video, right? And I said, no, we're just running audio. But we can run video and you and I can see each other. Nobody else will see us. He goes, oh, man, because I'm wearing a tank top. I'm like, let's go. Oh, man, I'm really looking forward to this. It is, Ryan's on Twitter, Sarah Ann. He's right there at Ryan Bledsoe. Everybody go and follow him. I already tweeted out earlier Ryan's Twitter. Okay, so you can go and do that. All right, so that's our week here. And just like my chair, suddenly my microphone doesn't want to stay up. It's, look. Oh, man, it's always something, right? Today, I get into the bunker, got a lot of stuff to do, and software decided not to run today. And certain drivers here in the studio, which everybody knows it's pretty happening. It's pretty cool in here. But one thing doesn't happen, right? A driver or that it's a bad situation. And today, I want to welcome our newest sponsor, by the way, My Patriot Supply. And you can go to preparewithjimmy.com, and it'll take you straight over to our Patriot Supplies site that we have. And you can go and check that out. So now we've got My Patriot Supply, and I've got to cut a commercial. I got to do, and I don't have audio drivers running in the studio. Oh, man. And that's like an issue. Let me tell you something. Spent like 2 or 3 hours getting that fixed. And it was just like, oh, man, I don't need my day to start out like this. But everything's running now, of course. So there you go. My Patriot Supply. I've got all the links up in social media. We'll have other links available over on the website starting tomorrow, and you'll be able to just go. But head over. It's preparewithjimmy.com. And when you go to the page, you'll see Fade to Black there. You'll know you're at the right spot. But everybody knows I want to thank My Patriot Supply. And one of the things this country right now is tripping. We've got the pandemic. We've got these crazy elections. We've got protests. We've got things going on, and empty store shelves. Nobody knows. And right now, prepping is the best thing you can do to ease your mind. And I have got the setup for my family. And if you're king of your castle or queen of your castle, you know what your job is. Your job is to take care of your family. That's what it is. And I remember a couple of years ago, we had a lot of things going down here at the house. We had fires in the hills. We had evacuation orders. We had things going. And Rita comes into me and she goes, so church. And you know what? That's when I know I'm in trouble. When she calls me church. Church, are we prepped? What's your plan? I was like, throw the dogs in the car and drive. That's your plan? And that's it. And so we have been prepping ever since. And we all know what we've gone through in 2020. It's just crazy times. Get yourself stocked up. Visit preparewithjimmy.com and just make sure that you feel good. If anything hits the fan, no matter what it is, you need to know that you're good to go. That's it. Okay? So preparewithjimmy.com. And with that, everybody wants their own crystal skull. You know what to do. Go to EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Visit Carolyn Ford's excellent Crystal Skull website and go and get yourself your very own crystal skull. And I've got some things lined up in the future with Billy Carson. And what you need to do, I'm working on a movie with him and some other stuff. Go to ForbiddenKnowledge.com, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv, and get signed up and check out everything that Billy's got going on right now, forbiddenknowledge.tv. And now, one last thing really quick before I get going here, and I've got to do it now. I'm now out of time, is Rivermoon Coffee. Okay, now this is the deal. Rivermoon's new website is launched. It's called rivermoonwellness.com. Everything is there, but all their coffee, all the coffee products, everything is there, plus all of our new wellness products, which includes all of the Black Moon wellness products. You need to go and check it out. It's rivermoonwellness.com. If you go over to jimmychurchradio.com, we've got the links there. You can go and check it out. Extraordinary website. Everything is there. One-stop shop. And we'll have, I think we've got everything up at jimmychurchradio.com right now. And we'll start to roll that out tomorrow as well. So lots of things going on to kick off the new year. Hello, everybody. We made it to 2021. I already feel better about the year ahead. It can only get better. It's going to be a great year. It's going to be an amazing year. We're 4 days in, and let's start this journey together. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. At JChurchRadio. The sandbox where you can hang out with Ryan Bledsoe tonight is hashtag F2B on Twitter. Hello to everybody on the Bunker Cam, Facebook, YouTube, UBN, everybody over in the Spreaker chat room, everybody over at KGRA. Welcome. Here we go. Let's kick off 2021 with this breaking news. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson reimposed a lockdown in England today as a more transmissible variant of COVID-19, I'm calling COVID-20. COVID-19 fuels a surge of infections and hospitalizations in the country. Johnson reimposed measures seen during the first lockdown earlier last spring, including closures of secondary and primary schools to all except the children of key workers and vulnerable children. People will be allowed to leave their homes for limited reasons like shopping for essentials, exercise, and medical assistance. Other than that, it is lockdown in the country. International departures are now limited to those who have a legally permitted reason, such as work. Now they're looking to unlock and lift things, hopefully, sometime in the middle of February. Now, big news today, Archaeology. Check this out. A Saudi scientific team from the Heritage Authority discovered stone tools used by the inhabitants of the Assyrian civilization in the Paleolithic period that dates back 200,000 years. The Heritage Authority said in a press statement today that the discovered tools are stone axes from the Middle Paleolithic period. These unique and rare stone axes that were characterized by the high precision in manufacturing that these human groups used in their daily life. Satellite images show the wide spatial distribution of the Assyrian sites and that they were the largest concentration of human inhabitants worldwide at that time. Extraordinary. The images are unbelievable. Now, Nostradamus, back in the news because Nostradamus predicted an asteroid strike sometime in 2021, saying that, quote, in 2021, in the sky, one sees fire and a long trail of sparks, end quote. That was from Nostradamus. As a prelude to the monster flyby later this week, when we're talking about asteroids, tonight, the 32-meter asteroid 2021 AB and the 11-meter 2012 BT1 will shoot past the Earth at a distance of 523,000 and 3.2 million miles, respectively, and that's pretty close. Then, on Wednesday, this week's main event will be the 62-meter, or half the height of the Great Pyramid of Giza, asteroid 2021 AC, which will drive by at a distance of 2.1 million miles. Well, a British judge has rejected a U.S. request to extradite WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange to America, ruling that such a move would be oppressive by reason of his mental health. Now, Assange is 49 years old. They say he's going a little bit crazy and that he is now feeling suicidal. And the judge said he ain't going to do it. And as a matter of fact, the judge almost released him. The 49-year-old Australian has been charged in the U.S. under the Espionage Act for his role in publishing classified military diplomatic cables. This Wednesday, the big day, the same judge, will consider a bail application from his legal team. Extraordinary news. Let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday to Rammstein frontman Till Lindemann is 58 years old. Guitar great John McLaughlin today is 79. Joy Division and New Order's Bernard Sumner today is 65. And REM frontman Michael Stipe today is 61. I'm 57. Have you seen what Michael Stipe looks like lately? He's 61. Man, some hard years. On this day in history, OTD 1974, President Richard Nixon refuses to hand over tape recordings and documents that have been subpoenaed by the Senate Watergate Committee, marking the beginning of the end of his presidency. Fader fact. You ready? Fader fact. In Hong Kong, all new... Listen to me. I can't keep this microphone upright. Let's do this. Maybe that'll work better for now. Fader fact. In Hong Kong, all new buildings must have at least 2 women's toilets for every man's toilet. Officials in Hong Kong say that women take twice as long as men on average when visiting a restroom. I'm not making this stuff up. I know you think I write it and this is comedy and that I've got this talent for writing this stuff and making this stuff up. That is a vetted Fader fact. Tonight, very special guest for our first show in 2021. We have Ryan Bledsoe joining us. Tomorrow night, Bob McGuire is here. We're going to be talking about that super secret, soon-to-be leaked triangle UFO image that is circulating around those secret 3-letter agencies. Wednesday night, Isaac Arthur, Future Science. Thursday is another Fader night with open lines all night long. The call-in number is 747-228-2051. Oh, look at the Rammstein. JC, you're good. You're good. You guys are quick. JC, I love Lindemann, man. I don't know a word that he sings. Don't know it. Don't care. Don't care. I don't even want to know what those words are. All right. River Moon Coffee. It's rivermoonwellness.com. rivermoonwellness.com. Head over. Get yourself some Faded Black blend. And our Game Changer blend is only available from their Amazon store. That's an exclusive Amazon product. So you can go to Amazon for that and head over to rivermoonwellness.com. All of our new wellness products are there. The under eye serum. That you see why I don't look like Michael Stipe. Michael Stipe would lose 20 years. I do. You know what? And thank you for that. That's fantastic. I do appreciate that. That's from Sarah Ann talking about my fantastic hair. I was in the mirror this weekend, and I have got one. It looks like 2, but I see one for sure. I've got one long gray hair. Starts about here and it goes right down the center, and it's just like, well, okay, I'm ready for that. Let's just go next phase of my life. Let's bring on the gray. So far, so good though. All right. Okay, it's time for some fun. Stay with me. By now, We all know what entanglement is in the world of physics. Talk about it all the time on this show. Entanglement, that two particles can somehow be connected even if they are separated and at the other ends of the galaxy, right? What Einstein called spooky action at a distance. So, if this is... Come on, guys. I want to talk serious for a second. No more Michael Stipe pictures. I know. What happened? What happened? What happened to Michael Stipe? I know, right? Yeah. Okay, so it's not just me. You guys. So, entanglement, right? Two particles, right? And they faster than the speed of light. At the same time, they affect each other, right? Some kind of strange connection, some kind of weird communication is going on. So if this is the case, well, is every particle in our bodies connected to something else out there in the universe? Has to be, right? Even that gray hair of mine is connected to another gray hair out there somewhere. And if that is not crazy enough, how about a complete version of ourself, particle by particle, reacting in real time, right now, in the now, as us, somewhere in the universe? Or better yet, how about in a parallel world? In the multiverse. Now, in the quantum world, once measurement has happened, or just an observation by anything, immediately a duplicate is created, split off, goes to another dimension, universe, another world. You can be observed by anything. The measurement. When you look at someone, observation, measurement. Or someone, even your dog, looks at you, well, it's like, bam, duplicates, entangled connections. This has been debated for almost 100 years, since around 1930. And physicists today still can't agree as to what a measurement actually is. But yet, the measurement part of quantum mechanics, quantum theory, well, quantum anything, is the cornerstone of everything. But it's not talked about. It's barely even taught because nobody can agree what it actually is. The measurement or observation at the quantum level is the reason why there is the multiverse. The reason why there are infinite versions of you and our Earth that go on forever. And forever, by the way, is a pretty long time. This is generally accepted today in the world of the hard sciences and the world of physics. But the very basis of these conclusions, measurement, and what it is debated. It's argued and is still the black hole of theoretical physics. It's like this. You're sitting in your Physics 101 class. It's your freshman year in college, right? And you raise your hand. You're like, pick me. Professor points at you. And you ask, what is measurement? And the professor looks at you, right? And then the rest of the class and says, well, it's the basis of everything. But it's not in your textbook. Next question, please. And you're like, wait. But what is it? Professor says, listen, kid, I don't know. Nobody knows. And you're on your own. And when you figure it out, write a paper and get back to me. And you respond with, yeah, but Einstein, Bohr's, Heisenberg, Schrodinger, they all said that, and the professor's going to cut you off. Professor's going to cut you off and say, hey, yeah, you know what? They didn't agree either. They didn't know nothing. I don't know. They didn't know. The only thing that they did agree on is that it's the bottom line of all that there is. Everything. Now, as of today, I've listened to and read just about every physicist that has come before and is alive today. And their theories about measurement and observation. It's crazy. They all say the same thing. Nobody knows anything. But yet they all agree that it's there, that it's necessary. And that is the very fundamental thing for every single particle in all of the universe and beyond. You can listen to the most complex physics lecture. Go and watch them. They're all over online. Class, whiteboard, professor, just going deep, 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 right? Symbols and equations all over the whiteboard. And then it'll happen. Every lecture, physicist is up there. He's like, so at this point, we got to get to here and we need to make a measurement. And right as he says it, professor starts laughing. It happens every single time. This Wednesday, we have Isaac Arthur on the show. And I'll ask him about measurements and observation just to prove my point. And you've got to listen to his reaction. And somewhere out there in the multiverse, entangled, will be another Isaac Arthur. Laughing out loud, in real time, in unison, entangled. Saying, Jimmy, I don't know, man. Nobody does anywhere. But when I find out, I'll write a paper and publish it. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is our first show of 2021. Tonight, very special guest, Ryan Bledsoe, is joining us. Tomorrow night, Bob McGuire is here. Going to be talking about that triangle UFO picture that nobody's seen but him. Wednesday night, it's Isaac Arthur and future science and measurement and observation. Thursday night's another Fader night with open lines all night long. The call-in number 747-228-2051. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Start your social media journey with me right there. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I'll be right back after this short break with our guest, Ryan Bledsoe. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on jimmychurchradio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. Getthetea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years, and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Permanent industrial glue impossible to remove? Not anymore, because Handyman Formula by D-Bond is a patented chemical adhesive remover. It's used in the building and home maintenance industry, but now it's available for your home use, for your DIY projects. Unglue stickers, silicone rubber, labels, price tags, flex tape, weather stripping, carpet glue, wood glue, liquid nails, even 3M 5200. And it dissolves graffiti. Yeah, graffiti. Handyman Formula by D-Bond works, and it's safe to use on most surfaces. No need to call a professional. Don't get out the pliers and blowtorch. Just apply a little Handyman Formula by D-Bond and wait 90 seconds, then quickly and easily pull the items apart. Get unstuck. Visit dbondhandymanformula.com. That's dbondhandymanformula.com, or call 561-575-4200. Handyman Formula by D-Bond.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Christopher. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, first-time guest Ryan Bledsoe's joining us. Tomorrow night, Bob McGuire is here. Wednesday night, Isaac Arthur and Future Science. Thursday night, of course, is another Fader night with open lines all night long. Our first Fader night of 2021. Tonight, it's Ryan Bledsoe kicking off a brand new year in our first show for 2021. The son of Christopher Bledsoe Sr. He's here for the first time to discuss his life of ET contact, or is it something else, with both himself and his family. Chris and his family are one of the most documented contact stories right now and have been investigated and covered over the last decade by both private researchers and government agencies. And tonight, everybody, I'm introducing you to Ryan for the first time. And he is here on his first major radio broadcaster network. It's going to be great. He's going to be here with us for the full show, sharing his experiences with all of you, the Fadernauts. And I would like to welcome to Fade to Black for the first time, Ryan Bledsoe. Ryan, how you doing, man? You all good?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. But I'm wondering if you're laughing because you see the funny ornament on the wall behind me, or.
No, I see that you changed your shirt, which is good.
Yeah, well. You kind of put me on blast there, and
I did.
I thought it was pretty funny.
I did. Just making sure you're listening. And Ryan, before we get started, you get the first-time guest disclaimer, which is always an honor around here, which is this. Let's get it out of the way. It's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends, and where the conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends. But we're going to end as friends. There you go. You ready?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Now, This is, I'm excited to have you on the show, and I want the audience to know we wanted to get Ryan on the show, but instead of calling Ryan, I called his dad. Right? I said, Chris, got this idea, and he said, it's a fantastic one, Jimmy. Yeah, please. It's our honor. And it was really that simple. Ryan, what was your reaction when your dad got a hold of you and said, Church wants you on Fade to Black?
Well, it wasn't exactly like that. I was sitting on the couch, like watching King Kong or something with my in-laws, and he sends me a text with no context. And on Apple, you could share the contact information, and it just popped up and said Jimmy Church. And I was like, uh-oh, I think I know what he's getting at. And then he said, text him, don't call him.
There you go. See, your dad doesn't play around.
Nope, he doesn't play around. Right to the point.
And
I was excited, though.
Yeah, and thank you. And I know that you've been following the show for a while. We've been following you, and we have great respect for you and the entire family. Just an amazing, amazing story. And I can't wait to get your take on it. And so we're going to go through all of that tonight. So welcome to the show. Get comfortable. I see that you're hanging out in Twitter with everybody. The Fadernauts are a wonderful family. And there you go. Okay. Let's start here. Where'd you grow up?
Well, I was born and raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I lived there till I was about 23, 24, and now I'm in Wilmington. So I've lived in two towns my whole life.
Wait a minute. You look like you're 19. So how old are you? And I know that let's actually get that out of the way, okay? And
okay.
Did you get married yet?
Well, we were going to get married on October 9th, and we had to postpone because of COVID.
Right.
So we're going to get married this coming October.
Yeah, I saw you announce your engagement, so congratulations on that. And,
thank you.
And I'm looking at the picture. I'm like, man, how old is Ryan? So, how old are you?
I'm 27.
You're 27. And getting married. Oh, my birthday is October 10th. So.
Oh, there you go.
Well, that's what you do. Instead of doing it on October 9th, do it on October 10th. And that would be really cool.
Absolutely.
But, okay, so you grew up in Fayetteville. What was it like up until 2007? Because that's always, that's the focus for everybody with you and the family. What was it like until 2007? Any high strangeness?
That's actually really interesting that you asked that. So when I was a little kid, about 9 or 10 years old, there was this time where it was Thanksgiving and I was at my grandmother's house. It's the same property we ended up building our house on, where everything happened in 2007, but that house was not on the property yet. So it was a lot of open grass. And we were all standing outside one night, and we saw this large, I guess you could say, green craft fly over. And we all stood there silently just watching it, and it kind of blew us away, and we never really talked about it again. And it wasn't until several years later, even after the Fayetteville incident, that we were like, oh my gosh, now that we think about it, we saw this thing all those years ago. So definitely I've had that experience, and then 2007, the rest is history.
Yeah, right. Let's go back to that green craft for a second.
Okay.
And your memory.
Sure.
So you would have been pretty young. How old were you when you saw the green craft?
If my memory serves, I was definitely in elementary school.
Right.
I want to say I was in maybe the 5th grade.
So 10,
probably 10. Yeah, 10 years old.
10 years old.
And
What do you remember? How big was it? Did you hear anything?
Right. So I remember it being big enough that it could have been a blimp, like really, really big, but it was low. And I just remember my dad standing beside me and saying, like, it's not making any sound. It's definitely not an airplane. It's not a blimp. It was really low to the ground and no sound. And it kind of blinked. It definitely wasn't a plane. It was a huge, I don't know what you call it, a huge craft.
Right.
And I just remember going to school the next day, and we used to have those Scholastic book fairs and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
I remember getting the science edition of the Scholastic magazine and going through every page, because in my 10-year-old mind, it would have had everything there is to know about science. And I was disappointed to never find a picture of that craft.
Right. and well, see, and this is, you bring up a really good point in that I'm a guy, I'm a man. when a man is a boy, 8, 9, 10 years old, you're into airplanes, helicopters, rockets.
Right.
That's it, right? That's your life. And
Trucks.
Right. Exactly. Mechanical things, right? And so when you see something like that, it doesn't look like what you think you know about airplanes and trucks, right? And
that's right.
And so what did you think you saw? Did anybody mention aliens or UFOs or?
I remember all of us saying it's a UFO, it's a UFO. And you know, the funny thing now that I've really fleshed this out is some of my relatives were there present who were seeing it and who were astounded. But then when the 2007 thing happened, they didn't believe us.
So that I believe. Did any of your friends at school see it? Did anybody else?
No, so this was a contained event at my family's Thanksgiving gathering that evening. I remember I have a little bit of vivid detail about it, but then some of it kind of slips. Like I know I was watching the very terrible, what's that actor's name? He was Pennywise the Clown. I was watching that on TV for some horrific reason, and my dad's like, come outside, there's something in the air. And the thing that a lot of people don't it's Tim Curry, by the way.
Yeah, Tim
The thing
Curry.
that a lot of people don't really talk about or consider a whole lot is my dad was a commercial pilot for probably 15 to 20 years. He really knows what these things look like. And when my dad was telling me, you know, I'm a pilot, that's no plane, that's nothing I've ever seen, I just believed him, you know, and it looked weird. It was kind of like a giant cigar shaped sort of looking blimp that was solid green and it had red lights on it. And I don't know, I think maybe that is somehow or another related to all the 2007 stuff. We've seen different shapes here and there, but I don't know. It's weird.
Now you have a big family. I really enjoy when you guys post pictures of the family, and you guys are close knit. And is everybody there in North Carolina?
Yes, in my immediate family, and then we have, gosh, I don't know, 50 to 150 cousins that live all over the country and in various places. But like my brothers, my sister, my mom, my dad, we're all about 2 hours apart in a little triangle in North Carolina. I'm at the coast, and my mom and dad and sister are in Fayetteville, and my oldest brother, and then Jeremy works at East Carolina University in Greenville. So we're all very close in distance.
And your dad told me this or last week. He said he's got 55 grandchildren now.
No. I don't know what the context of that was, but he has one grandchild.
It's just it's such an amazing family and so big. Yeah. And now this is the thing. I'm kidding about the size of the family and the grandkids, but
Okay.
but it's important to note here that this is a family affair. This is
Right.
It's a big property. You've got what's the layout? I know you said this was before the house was built, but the main property, how many acres?
So you're speaking about where I used to live for the
Yes.
2007. Okay, so
Yes.
that property is 6 acres. The house, which by the time 2007 came around, it was 2 houses side by side. But each of those houses, my grandmother and grandfather's, and then our house, were about 100 to 150 yards from the road. And you know, this is the South, and there's a lot of country, rural areas. So it was kind of a not busy rural community where not only were we already about 150 yards from the road, but there's not a lot of traffic. So a lot of the stuff we were seeing, there really wasn't a lot of nearby people, like cars driving by. It was very seldom. So with that being said, then you go behind the house, and there's about 4 acres behind it with woods. The entire backside of the property from the houses back were walled in. So if you're looking at the house to the left, there was these giant brushes and bushes and whatnot. And then on the right, we had a fence. In the back, we had woods and fence. So it was a very secluded property with hundreds or thousands of trees. So we saw a lot of stuff go down that a lot of people didn't really see unless they were back there.
Yeah, pretty cool place to grow up, right?
It was. And now my parents live at an even cooler place. It's about 13 acres, except amplify all that seclusion times 10. And there's a pond, and sometimes we go paddleboarding and stuff. So I like living in the country.
Now, before we go back, I want to isolate one thing really quick, which is the burning tree. Okay. Sure. What year was the burning tree?
If I'm going based on dates, it was 2013. I think. Yeah. 2000. Actually, it may have been 2012.
Now, and that's at the original property.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's key to note here. I want the audience to understand that the videos that are out there, you can go and watch Chris Bledsoe Burning Tree or whatever it's called. And there's a few of them, but you shot that video.
I did. Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, this is 2020. So you were 20 years old when that went down.
When that video was captured, I want to say I was 19.
Right. Okay. That is one of the craziest videos I have ever seen. I've tried to rationalize it, not debunk it, just try to figure out what the heck is going on. The panic in everybody's voice, the amazement. Your mom is hysterical in the video. She's great. Hysterically funny and hysterical at the same time. But you captured this moment. The audience knows about these videos. They don't know that you're the one that shot it.
Right. Well, if you Google the video, it's under the YouTube channel that says Ryan Bledsoe.
Okay. Ryan's going to be here all week, everybody. Buy the veal. Ryan's going to be here all week. What went down that night? At the beginning of the first video, the announcements are kind of going out, right? Everybody's alerting everybody that something might be going on in the yard. Where were you? Were you in the house? Were you outside?
Yes. So I was in the house when it happened, and so in our back section of the house, there was a door to the backyard, and it was like a glass door, kind of like a window pane, so you could see all the way through the door. And we were all inside at this moment because if I remember correctly, that day we were celebrating my father's birthday.
Was that your cat's tail?
Yeah, my fiance grabbed it real quick. She's very mischievous, and she was trying to jump up and see what I was doing. I'm sorry. But so that day, I believe we were celebrating my dad's birthday, and it had been raining all the day before for about 24 hours. So the day that the tree happened, it's important to note that the ground, the tree, everything was soaked. But it wasn't raining that day. There was no lightning storm or nothing. And it's also important to note that Chase Klotsky, I don't know if you're familiar with this story, but Chase Klotsky took samples of this tree and sent them to MIT, and MIT concluded that there were no accelerants or combustible, whatever the technical term is. But that's pretty crazy that there's already been a scientific investigation of the tree, and they found that it was anomalous. So what was happening that day, we were all hanging out in the yard, and it was about 8 or 9 p.m., and we decided we're going to go inside for the rest of the evening. And we're in the back door, barely made it in, and I had an iPad. I had just got a brand new iPad at the time. It was kind of a newer concept, and I got it, and I was just like always messaging on it and playing games. And my mom and dad look out the back door, and they're like, "Oh my God, the tree's on fire!" And they just start running out there. And remember, the ground was wet, so I'm scrambling to get my shoes on, and I just sprinted out there as fast as I could with my iPad, and I just started recording. I didn't ever think that I would, post it to the internet. I didn't think anybody would ever hear it, but it was just a very alarming moment, and it spontaneously combusted.
Yeah. So when you go up, they're saying the tree's on fire,
right.
And you run out and you see it for the first time. What's going through your mind?
Oh my gosh, the tree's on fire. Like I can't really tell you. I mean, when things like this happen, that you're not really paying attention to what's in your mind. You're paying attention to what's on your eyes, if that makes sense.
Yes. Well, and in the video, it's not the tree that's on fire, right? It's not the tree is not engulfed in flames. It's the inside of the tree, right in the middle of the trunk. What, 3-4 feet off the ground, right? Is my guess. And there it is, and you can see inside of the tree from the center is this little flame that doesn't seem to want to go out.
I don't know if most of the world knows this detail, just because we don't really get out and, there's a lot of details that we miss. But my mom, who is, she's great, but she's a big skeptic of this kind of stuff. So it's really funny when she has these experiences and they blow her mind, but then she's like, I could have been anything. And we're like, come on, Mom. But she went out there 3 times that night, put the tree out with a hose, and it kept relighting itself after she would fully douse it with the water hose. So everything about this tree from start to finish was crazy. I think the last time she tried to put it out and gave up was like 3 a.m, and she's just like, I'm going to bed. And it burned till morning.
Yeah. The second video, it's on fire again. and there it is. There's the second video, and everybody out. It must have been confusing to the brain because it just doesn't make any sense. 2 and 2 doesn't equal 4 here.
Right. That's right.
And this was in 2013. If we go back to 2007, the big night, which we're going to discuss, between then and 2013, that's 6 years. Was the tree just another moment? You know what I mean? It's just another string of things going down at the house. Was it like that, or did the tree signify something else?
That's a very good question. And I do just want to very quickly preface and say that it did actually happen in 2012. I think I published it in 2013, but I sat on it for about a year. But anyway, so back to your question. It was just like another moment because we've had so many poltergeist-like activities in our house from 2007 to 2012. But on the other side of that coin, that tree got the attention of some people that were trying to get in contact with us to possibly work on, like a multimedia project. So it ended up being very significant.
How is the family today, before we head to the break? There's a lot of attention on you guys, right? And so there is the Bledsoe life before all of this and where you are today. How's the family coping with it? And it's not quite fame and celebrity, at least the fame and celebrity that you ask for. It's a different form of it.
Right. Well, who would go out there after having a happy family and then going through some troubles and have a near-death experience, lose your business, and then think to themselves, I want to hoax a UFO experience for fame and fortune. Nobody really thinks like that, and people don't really consider that when they talk about if we're legit or whatever. But I will say now, after everything that has happened, it's really tested our mettle. It's really shown us that it's us versus the world in many ways. We're very close. But also with that being said, not everybody in the family likes to talk about it because it's traumatic.
What about the neighbors? Your friends, the town, school. You know what I mean? What's that like?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm 27 now, and it happened when I was 13. So that's actually, what's today's date? Today's the 4th, and 4 days from now will be the 14-year anniversary. I've had a lot of time to see how people react when you tell them this stuff. And at this point in our lives, we don't really, at least in my case, I don't really tell people about this until I vetted them for a few months and found whether they could handle it or how they would react. But when it first came out, there was a documentary, and the local, the Fayetteville Observer did a news story on us, and the reception in the immediate community was not good. We were the laughingstock of the town, even by the majority of our family, like cousins and folks like that. I've said this on interviews before, but the day after the documentary aired, I was 15 years old, and I go into my civics and economics class, and I had to stand in front of the class and tell the story of the documentary. And the most embarrassing part about that is my sweet aunt Tammy, who didn't mean any harm by this. It was a funny gag, and she was very supportive from the beginning. But she threw us a viewing party for the documentary, and she printed us T-shirts that said the Fayetteville incident, and they had a cheesy little UFO on them, and it was like only for our family. She didn't sell them. And I wore that to school the next day, and I had to stand up in front of my class wearing that shirt, talking about the document. Man, it was embarrassing.
Wow.
Yeah. It's funny now,
sucks.
but it wasn't funny then.
No, that is not funny at all. And I've got about 2 minutes, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
How has it changed you?
Okay, so since 2012, my father stayed quiet for 5 years after the reception of the documentary. And then the lady came, and everything changed. And we started opening our door to a lot of, I shouldn't say high profile, but high power people. And immediately from then till about, I guess I should say last year, we started keeping to ourselves and just having private discussions and study with these individuals. And it kind of trained us to think it doesn't really matter what people think anymore, because someone is listening and taking us seriously. So it's definitely changed in a very positive way for us.
And your friends and neighbors and town and things, that's changed for the better too, I would assume.
Unfortunately, not really. Like in the community, there are some people who've reached out to me on the internet and said, "Oh my gosh, I remember when this aired. I grew up in Fayetteville. I'd love to meet you guys." But as far as people we know, we still can't talk about it around some of these folks.
Is it a religious? Is it a religious thing? Do you think?
It's a religious thing for many of them, and then it's a crazy thing for the other ones.
Right. That part of the country, well, any place outside of California is religious, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm in the Bible Belt.
You are the Bible Belt. Yeah, exactly right. And so there is always going to be a religious tilt to this, but then there is possibly a very religious tilt to the story itself, and that has got to confuse the community around you.
Yeah, it does, because when you grow up in a literal sense reading the Bible, which I did, I was raised that way. As everybody knows, my dad's not shy about how he was raised.
Right.
When you grow up reading that the Bible is literal, and then things happen that you witness with your eyes that are not mentioned in the Bible, it really changes your perspective. But the hard part to remember is all of our family members and folks in our community didn't have that experience, and they still read it very literally. So they feel the same way, even that they did in 2007. We don't bring it up. We don't talk about it with people in our family. Very seldom. A few of my uncles or people like that have come and they've seen things with us, but we don't talk about it. It's very taboo.
Well, there you go. And the thing is this, and if I'm going to give anybody some advice, just ignore the negativity, man. That's all you got to do.
Right.
And with social media these days, it's so hard to resist the temptation of reacting. Just don't do it. I say it almost every night on the show, Ryan. Here's my advice. Block and mute are your best friend. I'll be right back after this short break. Our guest tonight, Ryan Bledsoe. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Again, visit ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer, Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, first show of 2021. We're doing it with Ryan Bledsoe, as we should. Tomorrow night, Bob McGuire is here. Wednesday night is Isaac Arthur. And then, of course, Thursday night's another Fader night with open lines all night long. Tonight, it's all about Ryan Bledsoe. And Ryan, you're doing great, man. You're doing great. Oh, and this is the thing. You and the family in 2007, life changed. That's it. That's the evening. And I want to discuss that a little bit because it's such a significant event, and then everything that unfolded after that. But you were not there. This was your dad, his work crew, Chris, and they were out. Where were you that night?
Okay, so we lived on the property next to my father's parents. That night was staying with my mother's mom across town. So I was in Fayetteville, but I was not at my property. So when Dad and Chris Jr. got home that night, we were not there. We were at my grandma's. My mom, I don't remember where my sister was. I just know me and my brother and my mom were staying the night with her. She's a widow, and oftentimes she gets very lonely, so we'll kind of make our rounds and stay with her. So with that being said, that's why most of us didn't find out about the experience until the following day, because we were not there for them to come home to. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. So what happened?
Okay. When I got home or
just the next day. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I remember, didn't your dad say he was up all night?
Well, I mean, I wasn't there. I imagine he was. I've never asked that, to be honest with you. But they were up late, and you know how the story went. You've interviewed him yourself, so I'm gonna spare the most part of the story. But as you know, when Dad got home from the river, he continued to have experiences that night, and Chris Jr. was freaked, so he wouldn't go out there. He couldn't handle. I mean, he was 17. You know what 17-year-old kid would be brave during that time? So Dad was up much later, and when I got off the school bus the following day, hadn't talked to my dad. I didn't have a cell phone. I was 13 years old. I get home, and at that point in my life, I was so lonely from having moved from one school to another across town because, we downsized, whatever. I would go to my grandparents' house every day and just quietly watch The Young and the Restless with them after school. I just wanted to bond with them in any way possible. So I'd go over there 5 days a week. My older brother was in high school. He wasn't home yet. My younger sister would go to piano lessons. So it was just me getting off the school bus, so that's why I would do that. So I went to my grandpa's house. The first thing he says to me when I get there is, "Boy, your daddy's been smoking dope." And I said, "What are you talking about, Papa?" And he said, your daddy's going crazy on drugs, and he's seeing green booger men. And I went next door immediately because I was, freaked out. My grandpa saying that, I kind of took him serious. And then when I met my dad, I realized he was, even at 13, I realized he was totally sane, sober, whatever. He was just in a panic. So it was a very frantic revelation to me from, being introduced as a drug-induced psychosis by my own grandfather. And that impacted me, that made me very guarded from telling this story even to family members.
Do you remember your grandfather coming over and talking to your dad about it the next day?
Honestly, I don't.
Right, right.
I don't.
He just didn't want to get involved.
My dad said?
No. I'm asking you what the environment was like, and for your grandfather to say something like that. I wasn't there, but it sounds like maybe he didn't even want to get involved in what was going on.
Well, as you've met my father, he's a very kind man. He's very straight and to the point. Well, my grandfather, also a kind man, but he was a very tough man, and he didn't play any games. He didn't tolerate anything that he thought was bullcrap, and he didn't believe my father for a number of years, and they didn't discuss it. And when they did, it was an argument because Dad was just so irritated that they wouldn't believe him, and they thought he was a liar or whatever. And I don't blame them for reacting that way. This is crazy. But my grandpa came around probably right around the time when he passed away, because he had a sighting. He was healed of cancer, and then unfortunately he did pass away from a heart attack about a year and a half later. But he came around in the end and started having sightings with us.
Yeah, remember your dad telling us about that and the curing of the cancer.
Right.
So that okay, back to the first day, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
What did your dad tell you? And as you go through that, Chris has got to come home from school at some point too.
Chris Jr. was not in school at the time. He was to the point to where he was working with my father.
Right.
And, he ended up getting his education later. But at that time, he was not in school. He didn't come home from school. He was there. He worked with, my dad.
Okay. So he was there when you came over from your grandfather's house.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right. Now let's start to unwrap this. What did they tell you?
So I don't remember as much that day what they told me. I do remember some things I'm going to tell you, but the main thing I remember is how they acted. Because, keep in mind, 14 years ago, I was already a child. A lot of that initial impact is lost there. But I do remember my dad was in the attic, And that night he was working on something, probably the heating and air unit. I don't know. He was tinkering. My dad always tinkers. It's just what he does. And I'll go upstairs because I wanted to hear his story so badly. I sat on the floor of the attic with him and just listened to him. And he was calm that night, the following night. He was calm, and I believed him right away. And he was just telling me, I saw this little being. I saw these lights. The little being was tiny, and it wore armor. That was the word, armor. Kind of like glass. It looked like glass, and it glowed like the moonlight. And then I saw this, spiky looking orange light, kind of like a teardrop shape. And then my brother Chris Jr., I kid you not, he told me it was like he said, I'm trying to get it correct here. He said it looked like something out of Halo, the video game.
Right.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. And he was telling me it was scary, but it was real. And he was like, I'm not crazy. I want you to believe me. And I was like, I believe you. But the way they described it was so frantic to be believed. And they were totally sane, totally, definitely not on drugs or anything like that. And
yeah, and they separated because your dad was back headed towards the road, right? He's going in the opposite direction from the river. And,
right.
and Chris is off doing his own thing, and he goes missing, right?
That's correct.
And so Chris, he's 17, you're 13. He's your older brother. What was your judgment at the age of 13? Was he acting different?
Yes. So my judgment was he was telling me the truth. I believed him, but he was frantic. My brother was frantic. He was very frantic. My father the following night was calm. He wasn't always calm, but he was calm when he told me the story. There was a lot of chaos that ensued with the fallout of sharing it with, my mother and her family and his own family. There was a lot of chaos there. But when he told me the story, he was calm.
Now,
my brother was not.
Your brother was not.
No, it freaked him out bad.
I can only imagine. It's an uncomfortable laugh from me. We all have family.
No, it's okay.
Right?
You don't.
We all have family. We know how that goes.
Right.
And you know your family better than anybody that you know in your life. So when you see them struggle and going through these changes and something as extraordinary like this, it's not easy for you or the rest of the family to go through, but you've got to do it together because family is all that you've got, right?
Right. So I don't think anyone's ever really heard this before. It's 14 years here worth of memories and experiences, and a lot of this stuff slips through the cracks, and we don't really think to share it. But my brother was 17 when it happened, and my mother, all the best intentions in the world, she just didn't believe him. It's not like she was being malicious. I totally sympathize with why she felt that way, and I still do. I'm sure she's listening. But it's just a fact. It's a matter of fact that she did not believe him until when he was 19 years old. He had a surgery, just like a minor surgery, and he was on anesthesia. And you know how that goes when you're right home, you're super loopy. I got my wisdom teeth pulled out, and I thought I was the rat from Ninja Turtles because I had gauze in my mouth. Like you just think crazy stuff. So when my brother was my mom's has to brake at a red light, and there's like a big truck in front of them. And when the brake lights went on, my brother started panicking in terror. And he keeps saying, "It's the eyes, it's the eyes. It's the eyes from that night." And my mom, that was the first moment. She came home that night and she told me, I believe my son. I don't think he was lying.
Wow. That was, again, January 18th, 2007.
The original experience was January 8th, 2007.
January 8th.
Right.
And after that, was it soon after that things started to change with the events on the property? Or was there a longer amount of time?
Now, when you say change, do you mean like we start to experience things? Is that what you're going?
Yes.
Okay. So right off the bat, as a family, we experience things. We would see lights in the sky. And my dad actually wanted me to tell you about this today. So it's a perfect question. When it first happened, my dad was I know I said he was calm when he told the story, and he was, but he was frantic for us to believe in his actions and what he would do. And there were many probably hundreds of nights or days that he would run in the house, make us stop what we were doing to go outside as a family and look. And there were many nights that we would get there and it was gone. But there were also many nights we would get there and we would all just stand there in silence and we would see something in the night sky. And particularly, I remember when I was 13 years old, so that would have been 2007. There was just one night we were sitting in the back room looking out the back window as a family through the blinds, and all 6 of us saw like a bluish white light bobbing up and down. And then Dad said, "See, I told you." You know, I believed him from the start, but I saw something that night. 13 years old, Jimmy. And then we continued to see dozens or hundreds or whatever. I have no metric for this, but it was a lot. Lights in the sky, moving in erratic behaviors. They would bob and weave and do whatever. But when I was 15 years old, so 2 years, I finally. So like I said, my dad would yank us out of the house. He'd make us run outside in a scramble, and he would even do that in the mornings. One day, actually, ironically, it was his birthday, so I know the date. It was October 15th, 2008. So, yeah, so I would have just turned 15, 14. No, I'm sorry, it was 2009, right, because I was 15. I was in 10th grade. So October 15th, 2009, he yanks me out of the bed at 4 in the morning and my brother Jeremy and makes us run to the back door. And my dad and my brother and I sat there in silence for 2 hours looking in the backyard. Now, it's important to note that behind our house and to the right, there was a Christmas tree farm, like a huge Christmas tree farm where people could come and buy these trees. So there was a huge section of woods. So above that Christmas tree farm, which from our door was only about 300 yards or less, right above the trees, we saw this giant, absolutely enormous black, I would say metallic, but I couldn't see any distinct features. This giant black object with a light on it that was pure radiance, to the point to where the main details you could notice about this thing was the light itself. The light was so bright you couldn't see the form, and it was gold. It was a gold white light, and it sat there for 2 hours, and we just watched it. Finally, about 6 in the morning, it slowly descended beneath the Christmas trees, and then I went to bed for about another hour and got up at 7 and went to school. So even as a young kid, I was seeing all these crafts and all these experiences and even several-hour events. But then it really – go ahead.
What was the shape of this black craft and the size, if you could take a guess?
So the size, it was Dad says this a lot. I want to refrain from just repeating him. He always says the size of a school bus. But it really was. It was about the size of a school bus. It was – I mean, I don't know. It was bigger than a car or a truck. I can't really give you a metric because it was in the sky, but it was huge. It was not quite as long as an airplane, but it was really, really big, and it was kind of round, oval shaped. But I couldn't see the physical form of this object because the light was so bright that it was like looking into a light bulb or something. I mean, even at the time, I thought, oh my gosh, this is angelic. It was huge.